Do you have your ID with you?
I just listened to my voicemail.
What'd you hear?
I
Who was
just-
your voicemail?
It's from Lisa Carey, who is my real estate agent, or who I had gone with to find a house. She just said she was driving around town and she heard there was a shooting on Trescott.
Yeah. That's what this is about. I'm sorry you had to hear it that way.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I should.
It's all right. Just leave it there. Is it still on?
It's right there.
Hey, it's Lisa Carey. It is Friday, and I feel like an idiot doing this, but I just heard that there was a shooting over on Trescott, and I promise I'm not trying to be dramatic or even nosy. I don't know, just checking on you, my friend. I hope all is well. I hope your sweet boys are well, and if there's anything you need, let me know. It just ran a chill down my spine when I heard that there was something going on Trescott. All right, 212-3083. I hope all is well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
That's all right. You can stop it. Or does it stop automatically?
It's done.
Okay. Do you have your identification with you? So you never took the last name of Markel?
No.
Adelson. Okay. Wendy with an I. Joe. All right. There was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I have a message from him this morning. What happened?
Well, before we get into everything, I have to establish where you were and who you were with and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, and then once we've established all that, I can give you more details.
Okay.
Do you understand why I wanted you to come here before I discuss this?
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you have nothing to be sorry about.
I just don't understand. How did this really happen?
Can you let me get over this hump, okay? Can we do that first? All right. Can you tell me what time you left your house this morning?
Yeah, I was there. I didn't leave this morning. I didn't leave until noon.
Okay. And
Oh my God. And I tried to drive up Trescott and I saw that it was blocked.
It was blocked at some point. I'm not sure what time it was
And I
blocked.
just thought, oh, there's maybe some trees down or something. Because sometimes
Oh, you're saying as you drove down which one of the side roads?
when I'm going to a friend's party tonight, and it's a oh my God, what am I even talking about? I needed to buy, it's a stock the shelf engagement party, and so I went to buy bourbon.
Okay.
So I went to drive from my place up Trescott to get to ABC Liquor, and it was blocked, so I just turned around. I was on the phone at the time. I wasn't paying a lot of attention.
Right.
So I just turned around and drove up the other way. I just thought, oh, sometimes when I lived there were electrical things
Okay.
that would happen. I left my house around 12:15 because I thought I'll get the bourbon and then I'll get some gas for the car and get super glue for one of the boys' toys, and I was trying to do all I can before meeting my 2 friends at 1.
Okay, who was at your house this morning?
The only person that was at my house this morning was a guy from Best Buy, because my TV was broken and it's under warranty.
Easy for you.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay, a guy from Best Buy was at your house to work on your TV?
I have his name and everything at the house if you want it, because the boys broke the TV, so he gave me a choice of fixing it or getting a new one.
What time did he come to the house?
He called me at around 8. He was probably there until around 10.
Okay. Okay. And then you
and then after he left, I kept working on a paper, and I emailed the paper to a librarian at school to work on some of the citations.
What if I told you the most dangerous person in a murder case is not always the one who pulls the trigger? What if I told you there is a woman who has sat in a courtroom, not once, not twice, but in every single trial connected to the brutal killing of her ex-husband, and walked out of every one of them a free woman? What if I told you her own mother, now sentenced to life in prison, sent her a text message that said, "Your brother protected you for years. Now you're not guilty. Your lawyer took very good care of you"? What if I told you that prosecutors officially named her an unindicted co-conspirator, meaning the state of Florida believes she is connected to this crime, yet she has never faced a single charge? And what if I told you that a book she wrote before her ex-husband was killed, a fictional story about a woman who feels completely trapped, might hold a mirror up to everything that happened? Her name is Wendy Adelson. And in the darkest chapter of one of America's most jaw-dropping murder cases, she is the woman who was supposed to be a witness, but became the center of everything. This is the story of what really happened. The family, the custody war, the silence, the tears that came too late, the testimony that raised more questions than it answered, and the question that still hangs over everything like smoke that will not clear. This is Dark Trail Files. And if this is the kind of story that keeps you up at night, you are exactly where you need to be. Hit that subscribe button right now and ring the notification bell so you never miss a case like this. Every week, we go where the cameras don't. We ask the questions nobody wants to answer. We follow the dark trail all the way to the end. Subscribe to Dark Trail Files, because the truth is always worth finding. Now, let's go back to the beginning. It was a warm Friday morning in Tallahassee, Florida, July 18th, 2014, a day that started like any other, the kind of day where sunlight pours through kitchen windows and the whole world feels completely ordinary. Daniel Eric Markel had been up early. A Harvard-educated legal scholar, a Florida State University law professor respected by his peers and loved by his students. He was 41 years old. He had 2 young sons. He was a devoted father, the kind of man who built his entire life around being present for those boys, even after the collapse of his marriage. He had been to the gym that morning. He was heading home. Dan Markel pulled his silver Honda Accord into the garage of his home on Trescott Drive in the Benton Hills area of Tallahassee. Behind him, following at a careful distance, was a silver Toyota Prius, rented, traveling from the Miami area, its occupants having tracked Markel's movements all morning. Dan never saw them coming. Sigfrido Garcia stepped out of that Prius and fired 2 bullets into Dan Markel's head. Luis Rivera sat behind the wheel. Markel was rushed to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital with catastrophic head injuries. He never regained consciousness. He was pronounced dead the following day, July 19th, 2014. Before we go any further, listen to this. This is the moment the neighborhood outside Dan Markel's home found out something was terribly wrong. A neighbor heard the shots. His voice tells you everything about how sudden and how violent this was.
911, what's the address of your emergency location? Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
We heard and looked in, the garage door was up, and I thought the gentleman was backing out, and I went back to my house, but he never backed out, and I came back over, and his driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered and can't answer. He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him or if he shot himself or what. I don't know. He didn't send an ambulance in a hurry. An EMT. He's still alive. He's moving.
Okay. What's going on with him?
I don't know. The driver's side window is all bashed in, and he's got blood all over his head. He's not responding to me. I think you need to hurry.
Yeah, I'm going to get him on the way to you. I just want to ask you a few questions, okay?
Go ahead, but send them as you're asking.
Yes, sir. They're already on the way, okay? Are you with him now?
Very good. I'm standing right outside the garage door.
Can you tell me how old he is?
I don't know. He looks like maybe 35 or 40.
Hang on 1 second for me, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir. I apologize about that. What was how old is the patient again? I'm sorry.
I can't tell. He looks maybe 35 or 40. I don't know.
Okay. And is he awake?
He's just moving his head around, but he's not responding. I've called his name, asked what's going on, or not call his name, but ask him what's happening. He's not responding to that, but his head's kind of rolling around.
Okay. Is he conscious?
Well, I can't tell.
Okay. Is he breathing?
I can't tell that. I'm assuming he's breathing if he's moving his head around.
Did you ever hear him talk or anything?
No.
Okay. You said he's sitting in the car, right?
Correct, in the driver's seat.
Okay. Where
Driver's
exactly is he? In the driver's seat? You know.
In the driver's seat.
Is he in the garage or?
In the garage.
Okay. Can you direct the emergency crews to him, sir?
Sure.
Okay. All right, I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Just stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
Okay.
If it's safe to do so, see if he is conscious and breathing or moving at all, okay?
It's not safe for me to do. I don't want to put my hand in here.
Okay. Well, help's on the way.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be standing by. And I've heard about break-ins in the area, and so I decided to walk over and take a look. And the garage door was up and asked him what was happening. And then I saw the window was shattered, and he's got blood. I'm going to be over here waiting for the EMT, honey. Okay, go ahead, but just tell the kids to hold on inside. They're okay. So tell them I'm out here.
All right, just stay on the line with me for now, okay, sir?
Okay,
I got him on the way to you.
Very good. I'm standing at the street, so if I see him coming down the street, I can direct him right in.
So he won't respond to you at all?
Not to me.
Holler at him or anything?
Yeah, he didn't respond, but his head kind of moving around.
Okay.
But I've walked away from the car right now. I'm standing at the street, so.
And he's?
No.
Okay.
He's inside. The window's shattered. The garage door was up.
Okay.
Where is the vehicle dispatched from?
I'm not sure. Give me a second. I'll try to see where they are, okay? Is he still moving around?
I don't know. I'm standing at the street now trying to wait for your vehicle. Did you say you were checking on where it was?
Yes, sir.
Or where it's coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it coming from?
I'm checking.
Okay.
Got several people on the way. Looks like one person's coming from McClay Road.
Okay, well, it may take them a while to get here then. We're close to the hospital, so.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying his head is bloody now?
Yeah, it's been bloody. I mean, it's...
Okay.
The window shattered. I don't know if he's tried to shoot himself. I don't know what the situation is.
And it's the driver's side window, correct?
That's correct. He's still moving around, so he's alive.
Okay. Looks like I should have an officer coming up the roadway.
Okay, well, we need EMT.
Well, the officer's going to be there first. They're not going to come until we figure out what's going on, but they're on the way as well, okay?
He better be if this guy's got a shot living.
Yes, sir. They're on the way as well, okay?
Yeah. It looks like could be the officer now.
Is he there?
Yeah, he's just coming up right now.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, sir, okay?
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Listen to that call. The confusion. The urgency. A neighbor heard gunfire and saw a light-colored Toyota Prius speeding away. That description would become one of the earliest threads investigators would pull. And when they pulled it, the entire web holding this case together began to unravel. But in the hours and days immediately following Dan Markel's murder, the world was asking one question. Who would want to kill a law professor? A mild-mannered academic? A man whose biggest battles were fought inside courtrooms and legal journals? To answer that, you have to understand who Dan Markel was in his personal life. And more importantly, who he was in the life of the Adelson family. Dan met Wendy Adelson in 2004 on a dating website. She was a law student at the time. They married in 2006. They had 2 sons together. By all outward appearances, they were building something beautiful. But by 2012, the marriage had collapsed. Wendy filed for divorce. And what followed was not a quiet separation. It was a battle, bitter, personal, and deeply painful on both sides. At the heart of the conflict was geography. Wendy wanted to move back to South Florida, where her parents and her brother Charlie lived. But Dan Markel had built his entire career in Tallahassee. He would not uproot himself, and crucially, he would not allow his children to be taken 300 miles away. In 2013, a family court judge agreed with Dan when he had not met the legal burden to justify relocation. The boys would stay in Tallahassee. That ruling would later become what prosecutors describe as the motive for Dan Markel's murder. Because Dan Markel was not just a man standing between Wendy and a new city. He was standing between the Adelson family and their dream of having their daughter and grandchildren back home. And the Adelsons, particularly Donna Adelson, the matriarch, were not a family accustomed to accepting outcomes they did not choose. To understand this case, you have to understand Donna. Donna Adelson is the kind of woman who does not simply participate in her children's lives, she manages them. Court records and witness testimony describe her as a powerful, all-encompassing presence. Even Wendy, testifying under oath, described her mother as having micromanaged her life. Donna and her husband Harvey would rent a car and drive from South Florida to Tallahassee just to turn around and drive Wendy home for a visit. She was consuming. During the divorce, Donna's investment reached new levels. Emails introduced across multiple trials reveal how deep she was in Wendy's battle with Dan. In one remarkable email, coaching Wendy ahead of a key court date, Donna wrote that the rest of all of their lives, Wendy's, her father's, her own, and even Charlie's, will be determined by how well Wendy could perform. And then came the line that stopped legal analysts cold. You can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. A mother coaching her daughter to perform, to act, for a divorce hearing. Watch this clip carefully. Inside that courtroom, Wendy Adelson is referenced as someone exceptionally intelligent. As you watch her, ask yourself this. Is what you're seeing transparency or something else entirely?
Now I want to talk about your knowledge and your belief on this. You're a smart person, right?
How am I supposed to answer that?
Well, let's go through your resume. You went to Brandeis University, right?
I did.
You graduated magna cum laude.
I did.
If you could explain to the jury what that means.
It means I studied a lot and got good grades.
Right. It means, and to speak, I'm from the Northeast. My Boston accent may give it away. It means you're wicked smart, right?
That's very
You had a
nice.
high
Thank
GPA,
you.
a very high GPA.
I work hard.
You also went and you got a master's degree from the University of Cambridge.
I did.
You were a Gates Scholar.
I was.
You then go to the University of Miami School of Law, which is a top-tier law school, Tier 1, right?
Okay.
Right? We're talking about your level of intelligence. You went to the University of Miami Law School, right?
I did, yes.
You also clerked at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, right?
I did.
Now, to get a clerkship out of law school, it's a very difficult thing to do, right?
It's challenging.
You have to have top grades. You have to go through a rigorous selection process, right?
Yes.
You then become a professor at the Florida State University College of Law, right?
Yes.
You're also a published author, right?
Now you're just embarrassing me.
This case everywhere. You'd agree with me on that, right?
I've been advised by my lawyer not to read it.
All right. Now, we're not talking about reading stuff. There's podcasts,
Also not to listen.
TV shows,
Also not to watch.
articles.
Don't read.
And so You've made the decision. Now, you're a lawyer yourself too, right?
I am.
And you made the decision, I'm not going to look at any of this stuff.
Correct.
I don't want to know what happened to the father of my 2 children.
Not I don't want to know what happened.
How can you say you love those boys if you don't care who killed the father that they loved?
You also have a separate obligation as an attorney to tell the truth, right?
Of course.
Okay.
I don't believe that I did.
You did not.
I don't remember doing that, no.
No further questions.
I don't remember exactly the timeline of that.
Okay, thank you. Lawyers, yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
Wendy Adelson is a clinical law professor. She has a law degree. She taught students how to navigate complex legal problems. She knows how courtrooms work. She knows how questions are structured. She knows what she can and cannot say without opening doors she does not want opened. Is it a gift? Absolutely. But in a murder case where every answer is examined for what it reveals and what it conceals, it becomes more complicated. The question a jury always asks is not just, what is she saying? The question is, why is she saying it exactly that way? In the final months of his life, Dan Markel filed a legal motion in family court. Investigators and reporters later nicknamed it the Grandma Motion. Markel sought to restrict Donna Adelson from having unsupervised visits with his sons. His reason? One of his boys had come home and told him that Grandma said he was stupid because he was trying to take her sunshines away from her. Dan filed that motion. A court date was scheduled. He never got to argue it because before that hearing could happen, he was dead. Donna Adelson had described Wendy's situation in Tallahassee, in her own words, as making her feel like a hostage, like a prisoner. Prosecutors brought those words into a courtroom and held them up. And then they asked the jury the question underneath everything. What does a family do when they believe their daughter is a prisoner? When the courts have failed them? When every legal option has been tried and lost? According to 5 separate criminal convictions, the answer was to find someone who could solve the problem in a way the courts never would. By 2016, investigators had connected their first major dots. Luis Rivera, the driver of the Prius, was in federal custody on unrelated charges. Facing a possible life sentence, he accepted a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and became a cooperating witness. He said he was paid $35,000 for his role. He named the custody dispute as the motive, and he described the chain of people connecting the hitmen to those who ordered the killing. That chain worked like this. Rivera and Sigfrido Garcia were the men on the ground. Garcia was connected to Catherine Magbanua, the mother of his children. Magbanua was in a personal relationship with Charlie Adelson, Wendy's brother, and Charlie was in regular communication with Donna. The prosecution's theory: instruction and money flowed from the Adelson family through Magbanua to the men who pulled the trigger. In 2019, Garcia was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life. Catherine Magbanua's first trial ended in a mistrial. In her retrial, she was found guilty and sentenced to life. In late 2023, Charlie Adelson was convicted of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation. Life in prison plus 60 additional years. And then, in November 2023, Donna Adelson was arrested at Miami International Airport trying to board a one-way flight to Vietnam, a country with no extradition treaty with the United States. This clip gives you a window into the family dynamic at the center of this case. Listen to how Wendy Adelson describes her relationship with her brother Charlie. The tone, the words. And then remember, this is the same brother convicted of ordering her ex-husband's death. Listen for what that relationship sounds like under pressure.
I absolutely had a close relationship with my brother.
And how soon after the murder did your lawyer advise you not to talk to your family about it?
In 2016.
Okay, so what about the 2 years in between? Did you talk to him about it then?
I mean, I talked to him about the fact that a murder occurred, but I guess I don't understand the question.
But you never talked to him about the suspicions you raised in the law enforcement interview that your brother might have done it?
No, I did not.
You suspected your brother could have been a part of this, right?
I suspected lots of people could have been a part of it.
But he was one of the people, right?
While I was talking with law enforcement for 6 hours, terrified out of my mind, I offered them every possible idea I could come up with.
Right. And one of the possible ideas was that your brother could have murdered your child's father.
I didn't really believe that was possible.
Was part of the plot for you to be able to have plausible deniability about this?
Absolutely not.
Is it better for both you and your brother if you don't know the details of this?
I don't even understand the question that you're asking me.
When did you first become aware that you might be a suspect in this case?
I mean, as the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought, oh my God, maybe if I hadn't divorced him, he would still be alive. Maybe this is my fault because I complained to the wrong person. Maybe Danny gave a student a bad grade and they came after him. I just was trying to think of who possibly could have wanted to hurt him.
But you didn't say any of that before. The first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25, not 5 hours into it. You say Charlie might have done it, right?
Can I see, please?
You may. This is going to be tab 1, page 25.
What I say here is that he would never do it. Right under the highlighted part, I say no, he would never.
Need a copy? Page 25, line 5 through 15. I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie, the one I'm really close to. He makes a lot of jokes in that taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay or fix it, or whether I should get a new one. And it was always his joke that, he knew that Danny always treated me badly. And it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV. So instead I got you this TV. And you do say you don't think he would do it, but can we agree you brought up his name on page 25 of the interview?
I did.
When asked, would you ever ask someone to do something like this? You say not in a million years. When asked, okay, do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you? You say no. And when Isom starts to ask you what good does it serve, you say, I mean my brother, the one, his name is Charlie. Isn't that how it went?
This is the transcript, but I think there's also inaccuracies in the transcription.
Oh boy. All right. Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired them, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid them.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want them held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I
Different
said.
now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
Charlie and Wendy Adelson grew up in the same house, shaped by the same extraordinary loyalty. By the time the divorce was consuming Wendy's life, Charlie was a successful South Florida periodontist, wealthy, protective, and according to prosecutors, deeply invested in fixing his sister's problems. He drove a Ferrari with a personalized plate, Maestro. His connection to Catherine Magbanua, prosecutors alleged, created the bridge between the Adelson family's desire and the men who acted on it. But what about Wendy? What did she know? What had she been told? These are the questions this case has never been able to leave behind. Let us talk about what Wendy's own ex-boyfriend brought into a courtroom. His name is Jeffrey Lacasse. He dated Wendy in 2013 and 2014, during the height of the custody battle and in the months leading directly up to Dan Markel's murder. He took the witness stand and told the jury something that made the entire room go still. He recalled a specific conversation. Wendy asked him, "Can I tell you something in confidence?" And then she told him that her brother Charlie had, in the summer of 2013, looked into all options possible to take care of what she called the Dan Markel problem. All options, including hiring a hitman, at a cost of about $15,000. Lacasse testified that Wendy said this not as a joke. She was dead serious. He called it chilling, and he was clear, this was not the same as the joke when he told police about. When he had told investigators, Charlie once joked that a TV was cheaper than hiring a hitman. Lacasse said what he heard from Wendy was something entirely different, something much heavier, something that did not feel like humor at all. According to Lacasse, after Dan Markel was murdered, Wendy relayed the TV repair story to him, the alibi explanation for why she was home that morning. The way she told it felt strangely prepackaged, like it had been rehearsed, like it had been prepared before anyone came asking questions. Prosecutors argued the alibi may not have been coincidence, but a narrative constructed in advance. Here is a detail that does not receive nearly enough attention. On the morning Dan Markel was shot, while Tallahassee police were still at his home, while the crime scene was still active, Wendy Adelson's car turned onto Markel Street. She testified she was taking a habitual shortcut. She saw the police activity. She turned away. She assumed, she said, that a tree had fallen. She did not stop. She did not call Dan. She did not call her children's preschool. She did not do any of the things a person might naturally do when they see police tape near the home where their children live half the time. She assumed a tree had fallen, and she drove away. Prosecutors brought this moment into the courtroom with weight, because less than an hour earlier, Dan Markel had been shot twice in the head in that garage, and Wendy Adelson drove past the scene and did nothing. She explained it. She maintained it was coincidence. And perhaps it was. People take habitual routes. People make assumptions. But in the context of everything else, in the context of Lacasse's testimony, the family emails, a mother who texted about years of protection, that moment on that street became impossible to discuss without gravity. This is one of the most discussed moments in this entire case. Watch the emotion. Notice when it arrives. Compare what you see to what you have already heard. The law professor, the woman her mother once called on to give the performance of her life.
Okay.
And I don't think I talked to anyone else, but I was just working for an hour or so from the house. I was going to take a shower, but I didn't. I ran out of time. I did laundry. And then I left the house around noon.
To go to the liquor store and the stuff for the party.
Yeah.
Okay, you went down which road you said?
I went down Trescott.
Okay.
I saw a police car there, and I just thought it was blocked, so I just turned around and drove to, I went down the rest of Centerville, went up Benton across, went to ABC Liquors, bought the bourbon.
I'm a little confused. You're up on Centerville Road. What's your purpose of driving down Trescott?
It's usually the shortcut to get to Monroe.
To get to Monroe?
I usually take it as a cut through to get to Thomasville or Monroe.
Okay, all right, so
I don't know why I said Monroe. I was thinking Mosaic, Monroe, Thomasville.
Okay, so when you come down into town on Centerville?
I almost always cut through Trescott.
Trescott and just drive by your old house?
Well, I do it as a way of like coming to to terms with a divorce. But yeah, sometimes I drive there. If I'm too sad, I drive around.
Okay.
If the kids aren't home and I know they're not home, I feel better about driving by the house. But yeah, it's shorter, and I just usually drive by.
It's shorter than going all the way down to Benton.
All the way down Centerville and around Benton. It's just
Right.
a shortcut I always took.
Okay, so you turned around and went back to Centerville, I take it?
Yeah.
Down to Benton, and went to the liquor store down there on Thomasville?
Yeah.
The one at Benton Road?
ABC Liquors. It's at Benton.
Okay. All right. Did you make a purchase there?
Yeah.
And that was sometime after 12?
Probably 12:30.
Okay. All right.
And I talked to a guy there because I don't really buy much alcohol, and so they wanted bourbon, and I asked the guy. We had a whole conversation about bourbon and
Right.
my eyes.
Your eyes?
He just said your eyes are really blue,
Right.
and
You have contacts?
I do.
Okay.
But I just remembered it.
Right.
So I bought the bourbon and got some gas on Thomasville and met my friends at Mosaic.
Which gas station did you go to on Thomasville?
The one that's, I always forget the name, but the one that's close to the cross street. It's right next to the Goodwill.
Okay.
If you're heading north on Thomasville. If you're heading north on Thomasville, it's on your right.
Okay. Just past the Goodwill
Just
place?
past the Goodwill. It's close to the intersection there.
Okay. All right. And then from that point, you went straight to the
Went to Mosaic
Mosaic restaurant?
and met friends there. I used to have kind of a steady Friday meeting, and I hadn't seen my two friends in a while. And so we had made plans to meet up.
What time did you get to Mosaic?
About 1. I was a little late. We were supposed to meet at 1, and I got there a few minutes after.
Okay. All right. I know it's cold in here. Okay.
I think that's not why I'm
Okay.
shaking.
I know it's part of it, but do you know anybody that would have a beef against your ex-husband?
He's, oh my God.
I hate to ask it now, but I have to do it now. You
I
understand,
understand.
right?
I understand. He had friends. He always meant well, but he would sometimes rub people the wrong way.
Okay.
But not anyone who would do something like this.
Anybody that he owes money to?
No, he owes money to me,
He owes money to you?
but
Okay.
not me.
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh my God, we're 4 kids. Oh, I know a lot of people didn't really love him, but I don't know anyone who would do something like this.
Well, we're still trying to determine, what happened and how it happened.
But he wouldn't do this to himself.
Okay.
He was a very positive person.
Okay. No one that you know of or that you've spoken to recently that he's had some type of problem with or that he was concerned about?
No one that he was concerned about. I mean, we've been separated for 2 years, so I don't know,
Right.
If he had something going on, I wouldn't know about it, but, I mean, I had lost my voice earlier this week, and so we had put off this conversation about our son's school and where he was going to go, and he, I can't, I know a lot of people didn't love him, but not anyone who would, hate him.
Okay.
He meant well. Everyone that knew him
Okay.
knows that he means well, but he can be a little, argumentative.
Right.
But not, he didn't owe anyone money. He didn't do anything except work and take care of his kids. He wasn't involved in anything bad.
Okay.
I can't believe this is happening.
I know. And he was a professor at the law school, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And your divorce has been 2 years or the total separation, I'm assuming?
Total separation's been 2 years. Our divorce was finalized last summer around this time.
Okay.
He wouldn't do this to himself. He has a girlfriend now.
Grief does not follow a script. Everyone processes shock differently, and it would be wrong to say there's only one right way to respond when your ex-husband has been shot. But the details of how Wendy responded in those early hours have been examined for over a decade. When the body cam footage circulated, many viewers noticed something that felt strangely controlled. There were visible moments of distress, but there was also composure, an awareness of presence. A woman who, by her own admission and by the accounts of those who knew her, had always managed how she appeared to the world. Recall Donna's email. She told Wendy she needed to be a good actress. She had seen her in action. Was the police body cam another kind of performance? Or was it genuine grief filtered through a personality that had always kept emotion behind a control mask? That is not a question with a clean answer, but it is one that, once asked, does not easily disappear. Here is the moment the courtroom had been waiting for. Wendy Adelson taking the stand at her own mother's murder trial. Her mother is seated feet away, the woman who coached her to perform, the woman now accused of masterminding the killing. Watch how Wendy carries herself as she enters. Notice everything.
Name and spell your name.
Wendy Adelson, Wendiadelson.
Ms. Adelson, where are you from?
I'm from Coral Springs, Florida.
And you live in another state now, currently, right?
I do, yes, ma'am.
All right. How are you employed?
I'm an immigration attorney.
How long have you been an attorney?
Since 2006.
And you're here pursuant to a state subpoena, is that correct?
Yes.
And that subpoena confers a type of immunity on you. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. Which means that nothing you say here in court pursuant to that subpoena can be used against you at a later time. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay, but it doesn't necessarily mean you could never be prosecuted. It just means that what you say in court could not be used in any future prosecution. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. I want to ask you about your ex-husband, Daniel Markel. Is that a fair and accurate photo of Mr. Markel?
Yes.
When did you meet him?
We met originally online. It must have been the fall of my first year of law school, so 2003.
Okay. And when did you marry Mr. Markel?
We married in February of 2006.
Were you living in Tallahassee at some point as a married couple?
Yes.
When did you move to Tallahassee?
We moved to Tallahassee my final year of law school, so that would have been in the summer of 2005. And we were here from 2005 till 2006. We spent a year at the University of Miami from 2006 to 2007, and then came back to Tallahassee from 2007 until 2014.
All right. And during the time that you were living here in Tallahassee, did you live over on Trescott Drive?
For some of the time that we lived here, yes.
And when your first child was born, were you residing at the Trescott Drive residence at that point?
Yes.
Okay. I think I have a photo of that here. Is that the Trescott Drive residence?
Yes.
And how many children did you have with Mr. Markel?
We have 2 children.
What were their ages at the time of their father's death?
It was 10 days before my older son's 5th birthday, so he was 4 turning 5, and our younger son was 3.5. The boys are 14 months apart.
And did there come a time when you and Mr. Markel separated?
Yes.
When was the separation?
It was in the fall of 2012.
Whose decision was it to separate?
It was mine.
How did your ex take that news?
Well, we talked about it many times before it actually happened, but when the separation became official, he was very upset.
And even though there were problems and issues and discussions, it was a surprise to him when it actually happened, right?
It was.
Okay. And was part of the reason for the separation your differing views on how to raise the kids pursuant to the Jewish faith?
I'd say it was a very small part, but it was a part.
Did you consider your ex to be a religious zealot?
No, I didn't think he was a religious zealot, but I did think he was using religion as a way of controlling me.
August 25th, 2025. Donna Adelson sat at the defense table in Courtroom 3G in Tallahassee, Florida, 75 years old, facing first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder. Into that room walked her daughter, the woman at the center of every question this case has ever asked. Wendy Adelson had been subpoenaed. She came under a grant of limited immunity. Her testimony could not be used against her, but that immunity did not protect her from prosecution based on other evidence. She knew that. She understood exactly where it ended. Prosecutor Georgia Kappelman established the foundation: the divorce, the children, the custody dispute, the denial of relocation. And she built the state's argument through Wendy's own words. Wendy acknowledged she had called Dan Markel in private an STD, a dark lord, and an emotional terrorist, just 3 weeks before he was killed. She acknowledged telling police her parents had more reason to dislike Dan than almost anyone else. She acknowledged her mother referred to her life in Tallahassee as being a hostage, a prisoner, and she acknowledged the $1 million plan prosecutors presented, a proposed bribe to Dan Markel to allow relocation, a plan that never materialized because prosecutors argued a more permanent solution was chosen. And then came the question everyone had waited years to hear asked directly in open court. Were you, in any way, involved in the plot to kill your ex-husband? Wendy Adelson answered, I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny. But here is what Donna Adelson's own defense attorney did during cross-examination that no one fully anticipated. Instead of simply challenging evidence, attorney Jackie Fulford built a careful portrait of a loving mother and of a daughter who stood to gain the most from her ex-husband's absence. She forced Wendy to acknowledge that her sons grew up without their father. She forced her to state on the record that anyone in her family involved in Dan Markel's death should be held responsible. And then she delivered the question under all her other questions: who benefited most from Dan Markel being gone? The implication was unmistakable. Donna Adelson's own lawyer was telling that jury, do not look at my client. Look at her daughter, the woman whose custody battle was the motive. The woman who is now living exactly where she always wanted to live. The woman whose brother is serving life and whose mother is going there next. The defense attorney for Donna Adelson pointed the shadow directly at Wendy. And Wendy sat there, composed, controlled, and she answered every question. What you are about to see is rare. A witness being questioned about her own family member in a way that is personal, pointed, and relentless. This is Wendy Adelson being asked about her brother Charlie. The questions do not let up, and neither does she.
It's like my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else. Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
And that's because he hurt you, right?
And I was saying that in the context of talking to law enforcement for hours and hours and trying to help them figure out who might be responsible.
Right. And who did you tell them might be responsible?
Well, I told them many, many people. But are you asking about this particular moment right here?
You told them your family might be responsible.
Or potentially someone to do with a former student or his current girlfriend. I mentioned lots of people that I thought could be responsible.
Okay. And of the lots of people that could have been responsible, your family was one of them.
Yep.
Because they might have done this thinking it would help you. I mean, that's what happened, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Your family had your ex-husband killed to try to help you, didn't they?
No, that's completely untrue.
When did you learn that Catherine McBanoa was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So he never told you?
No.
You testified in Catherine McBanoa's murder trial last year, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And she was convicted.
She was convicted, yes.
A crime for which she apparently is innocent because she was just a conduit for Sigfredo Garcia. Did you learn that today along with all of us?
Well, I learned that someone made that argument. I don't know whether it's true or not true.
Did your dad get any big gifts for his 70th?
I don't remember.
So there was no big lead up and discussion about some big gift that you were involved in, at least?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I gave him a present. I hope I did.
Do you remember what anybody gave him for that birthday?
I really don't.
Was the murder of Dan Markel your dad's big gift?
I mean, that's, of course not. That's a horrible thing to say.
What about the grandchildren, getting full unfettered access to the grandchildren?
My parents had full unfettered access to their grandchildren always.
You want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
Somebody hired them, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid them.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want them held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says, regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I say.
Different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. Oh, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
Prosecutors traced Charlie's involvement through Wendy's own memory. They pointed to a Halloween photograph Charlie sent in October 2013 of himself and Catherine McBanua, alongside a message prosecutors said told Wendy not to buy a house in Tallahassee because she would not be living there much longer. Wendy testified she did not remember the message. She really wanted to buy that house, she said. Then came the television. Charlie gifted her a TV and joked it was cheaper than hiring a hitman. But La Casa's version was different. The version where Wendy, 5 days before the murder, shared something with deadly seriousness about $15,000 and all the options her brother had explored. When asked whether she believed her brother was capable of what he had been convicted of, Wendy did not answer with outrage. She did not collapse. She answered carefully, precisely, like someone who knew exactly where the lines were and stayed just inside them. That is the Wendy Adelson that prosecutors, journalists, and legal analysts have watched for over a decade. A woman who moves through the most explosive situations with a composure that is either remarkable resilience or remarkable calculation. Depending on who you ask, the answer is entirely different. This is the moment replayed more than almost any other in this case. Wendy Adelson, under direct questioning, making her denial. Watch her face. Listen to her voice, and ask yourself, what do you believe?
Were you in any way involved in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
No.
Did you maybe know it was going to happen, but not know the details?
I did not know it was going to happen, and I did not know any details.
Did you provide any information, even unknowingly in hindsight, that you think could have been used to assist the murderers?
I don't think so. I didn't provide any information.
What information do you have regarding your mother's involvement in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
I don't have information.
But you do admit that your brother said he looked into hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel.
I don't. I admit that my brother made a tasteless joke repeatedly about buying me a TV because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
But then someone did hire a hitman who did kill Dan Markel, right?
Yes, that happened.
Was part of the plot to kill your ex for you to have plausible deniability or to know very little about it?
I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny.
Were you shielded from the plot because, I don't know, you couldn't be trusted to keep a secret?
I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny.
Why did you tell investigator Isom in your law enforcement interview that you were worried the police, or you were worried, I guess, in the police car on the way to be interviewed, that you might be considered a suspect?
Because I couldn't think of anything bad going on in his life other than the divorce. And frequently the ex-wife is a suspect.
Were you treated as a suspect?
I was not.
But you mentioned 9 times in your law enforcement interview being a suspect. Didn't you?
I did, yes.
I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny. Wendy Adelson has said some version of those words in every trial connected to this case. Calmly, steadily, looking directly at prosecutors, doing everything within their legal power to suggest the truth was more complicated. Her ex-boyfriend testified she knew her brother had researched hiring a hitman. One of the convicted hitmen, Luis Rivera, stated in testimony that Wendy paid for the killing and that Magbanua connected all of them. Donna Adelson sent her daughter a text saying her brother had protected her for years. And Wendy maintained consistently across more than a decade that she had no involvement, that she was a victim too. She also said something in court that has stayed with observers ever since. When asked whether she thought the state would ever charge her, she replied with quiet certainty, "The state isn't going to decide to arrest me." Was that a prediction? Confidence? Knowledge? Nobody outside of Wendy Adelson can answer that. This is one of the most extraordinary moments in this trial. A defense attorney in a murder case pointing the finger not at the prosecution's theory, but at the woman the state itself called to testify. Watch how this unfolds, and think about what it means when a mother's defense turns on her own daughter.
I wouldn't say without his influence in any way, but yes, they've grown up without their father.
He's not here to give them advice.
He is not.
He can't come to any of their functions, sports, anything else.
Correct.
They're not eating kosher like they would have with their father.
They are not.
They don't have him at all.
They don't have him in their lives day to day, no.
Because on July the 18th of 2014, he was brutally murdered in his driveway. Isn't that true?
That is true.
And you testified on direct that anybody in your family that had anything to do with it should be held responsible. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
Redirect examination.
When you said you were an actor in someone else's show, whose show was it?
I think I felt like I just wasn't fully present in my own life, that I had always been a real people pleaser. And so there was an aspect of not always being true to myself and wanting to make other people happy.
And one of those people is your mom, right?
Yes.
And that's part of why you kept going with relocation, even when you kind of had some doubts about it, right?
I would say it's part of the reason.
The moment Donna Adelson's defense implied Wendy bore more responsibility was described by legal analysts as one of the most dramatic things they had ever witnessed in a Florida courtroom. It took the defense into completely unconventional territory. Here is the uncomfortable math the defense was presenting. If the motive for Dan Markel's death was to free Wendy from Tallahassee, who benefited? Donna lost her son to prison. She lost her freedom. Everything. But Wendy? When he moved to South Florida, she changed her son's last names to Adelson. She denied Dan Markel's parents access to their grandchildren. She built a new life in exactly the city she always wanted, with the custody arrangement she could never have gotten through a court. That observation does not equal guilt. It is not evidence of crime, but it is a question the defense raised in open court. And once asked, it would not leave the room. Now let's talk about something that adds a different dimension entirely. Before Dan Markel was murdered, before any of this unraveled, Wendy Adelson was writing a book. Prosecutors filed specific pretrial motions to be allowed to question Wendy about this book. The court agreed. Watch how she responds when the subject comes up, and listen for where the story in the book and the story she is living begin to sound strangely familiar.
And was Is that the only book you've written, or have you written more than one book?
I've only written one book.
What was the book about?
The book was about human trafficking and about the vulnerabilities that lead to trafficking, the problems when it occurs, and basically how to recover from it after.
Where was the book set?
It was set in a fictional town.
What was the name of the fictional town?
Hiawassee Springs.
So Hiawassee. Is it located in the panhandle of Florida?
No, I used to see the name when I was driving from Tallahassee to Orlando, so it's somewhere in between.
And was the place modeled after Tallahassee?
It was definitely somewhere in Florida, but not supposed to be about Tallahassee, no.
Who was the central character in that book?
So there's 3 central characters. One was one of my clients, kind of a composite character from Eastern Europe. One was kind of a composite character of many clients I've represented from Latin America. And one was a public interest lawyer.
And was the public interest lawyer Lily?
Yes.
And is that the character that's sort of based after yourself?
No, really more based after a friend of mine.
And was Hiawassee, Florida, quote, just a small stop on the way back to what we had previously known as civilization? Is that a quote from your book?
That sounds like a quote from my book, yeah.
And who's the husband of Lily, the public interest lawyer?
You want his name in the book?
Yes.
I think it was Josh Stone.
All right, and what was Josh's employment?
Josh was an English professor.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Josh was an English professor.
A professor, where did he teach?
It's been a while. I wrote the book over 10 years ago. I don't remember what I named the university in the
North Florida State University?
That sounds right.
NFSU?
NFSU sounds right, yeah.
All right, and in the book, does Lily lament, quote, we moved to this godforsaken place for Josh's career?
Yes, that sounds like a line Lily would say.
All right. When you looked at page 187 of the divorce document on cross, and I'll hand that back to you. This is actually my copy. Just turn back to 187. Do you see the quote that you read previously from that page?
I don't.
Okay. It had to do with, let's see if I can find it, that you were very unhappy in the marriage. I think it's the 3rd paragraph there.
I see that line.
Okay, the wife has been very unhappy in the marriage and files her petition for dissolution of marriage in August 2012. The husband continues to characterize this as abandonment, and then it goes on to say that he had been disparaging you to some of the folks at the law school. Do you remember reading that?
I do.
Was that intended to be the place in this binder where you allege emotional abuse by your husband?
I mean, I think it's emotionally abusive to suggest somebody has mental health issues.
Okay. What is the Prof's blog? You were asked about that on Cross.
Yeah, it was a blog that Danny started with some of his colleagues to kind of promote community in the law professor world.
And who reads the Prof's?
Probably other law professors and people interested in becoming law professors.
Who is on the Crim Prof listserv?
I don't know.
Were you on the listserv for that prof's blog?
I may have been on the listserv at some point.
Do you remember seeing the post that you were shown on Cross?
I do.
And the post says something about Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is there any other information on what you were shown about Dan's travel plans post-murder other than that?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question?
The post says Danny and I guess it's another professor writing this thing. Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is that the type of information that he would typically have on something like the prof's blog or Facebook?
That sounds right.
Okay, but as far as the date he's leaving, the flight he's on, that kind of stuff, would that typically be on the prof's blog?
He wouldn't put what flight number he was on, but he would almost always communicate when he was going on a trip.
Okay, so going to a conference that starts July 20th might be an example.
Flying to New York tomorrow would be an example.
Okay. But
not a flight number.
But he didn't put flying to New York tomorrow on this occasion?
No.
You were referenced several times, not on direct examination by the state, but by your brother's attorney on cross as a co-conspirator. Are you charged in this case?
No.
This isn't your trial, is it?
No.
Is your brother charged with conspiring with you to do a murder?
No.
Is he charged with conspiring with you to plan a murder?
No.
Is he charged with soliciting you to do a murder?
No.
Who is he charged with doing those things with?
I don't think anyone.
Have you had an opportunity to review his indictment in this case?
I have not.
Give you an opportunity to take a look at that document to yourself. Who is your brother alleged to have done these crimes with?
Catherine D. Magbanowa.
Were you on the wire in this case, Ms. Adelson?
No.
So when the bump happened, are you familiar with the event I'm referencing as the bump?
I am now.
When law enforcement approached your mother on the street and handed her a piece of paper?
Yes.
Okay, when that occurred, who did your mother call?
I don't know.
Not you, right?
Not me.
Okay. And once your brother found out about the bump, did he call you about it?
No.
Who did he call?
I don't know.
Well, you listened to the calls to authenticate the voices, didn't you?
Just to hear the voices, not to hear the content of the calls.
Okay. And the voices were your brother's voice, right?
But I listened to the calls just to hear who was on them, so I don't know what content they're referencing.
I heard your answer. My question to you now is, your brother's voice was on the calls.
He was on some of the calls I listened to.
Okay. Your mother's voice was on the calls.
She was on some of the calls I listened to.
Did you have any secret meetings with your brother post bump that happened in South Florida?
No.
You were asked about Jeffrey Lacasse and the way that your relationship ended. What is OkCupid?
OkCupid is a dating website.
Were you on that dating website?
I was.
Were you on that dating website at the time that you were dating Mr. Lacasse?
No, I wasn't.
And were you speaking, so I guess if you weren't on it, you weren't speaking to multiple men from the website during the time you were dating Mr. Lacasse. And I'll remind you that you provided your phone in this case and it was cell-brighted, downloaded.
Objection, argument approach.
The book is called This Is Our Story. Wendy wrote it before the murder. It is fiction, but it features a lawyer, a woman, who feels completely stuck in a city she did not choose. A woman trapped in a life that was not the one she wanted, navigating family pressure and the weight of circumstances beyond her control. Prosecutors argued the book provided relevant context, the depth of Wendy's sense of being trapped in Tallahassee. Defense attorneys argued the character was not autobiographical. The court allowed questions about it. When asked, Wendy maintained the lawyer character was based on a friend, not herself. She described it as fiction, separate, Unrelated. But here is the question prosecutors wanted the jury to sit with. Writers put into stories the feelings and desires they themselves carry. And sometimes, the distance between the story and the storyteller is not as wide as the storyteller would like you to believe. The way Wendy answered, careful, composed, drawing clear lines between herself and the character, was entirely consistent with how she answers everything. Precise, controlled, exactly as smart as she needs to be. In the weeks between Charlie's conviction in late 2023 and Donna's arrest, text messages were exchanged between mother and daughter. Those messages were entered into evidence at Donna's trial. And what they said is something this case will never be able to move past. Donna Adelson wrote to her daughter, "Your brother protected you for years. Now you're not guilty. Your lawyer took very good care of you." And in a separate message, "Everyone looks to protect you. I bet you've got a lot to think about." These are not the words of a stranger. These are the words of a mother to her daughter. A mother about to be arrested for arranging the murder of that daughter's ex-husband. A mother who believed, whatever her own guilt or innocence, that she and her son had extended a form of protection to Wendy that cost them everything, while Wendy remained free. Donna did not deny sending these messages. She read one of them aloud in a recorded jailhouse call with Charlie, a call the state played at her trial. What does a mother mean when she tells her daughter her brother protected her for years? What kind of protection is she referring to? This is not a rumor. It is not theory. It is evidence presented in open court. And it is the question that sits at the center of everything still unresolved in this case. She came back. After the first day of questioning, Wendy Adelson returned to the witness stand. The temperature in the room had shifted. The questions were sharper, the stakes higher. This is what it looked like when pressure met composure at its absolute limit.
Good morning. If you can just take your seat for right now, I will swear you in when the jurors re-enter the room. I believe, even though the jurors indicated they did not have to go to the bathroom at this point, if we are once again dealing with the needs of 14 people, they might be in the bathroom, so wait for the knock. I believe that we have a few jurors that do need to use the restroom. If anyone needs to stretch their legs or use the bathroom themselves, please take your opportunity now. Once we start with the testimony, again, the door will remain closed if you exit. Go ahead. Oh, before you leave the room, Ms. Fulford, once again, Mrs. Adelson, I'm going to reiterate the instruction that I gave to you last Friday concerning any reactions that you may have to either the testimony or the evidence in the case. I understand this may be a distressing thing for your child to be offering testimony in your trial. However, you are to control your expressions and your emotions. Do you understand those? Everyone can take their break. If you need to step down until it's time to testify, you may do so as well.
On the second day, prosecutors confirmed Wendy understood her immunity. Her testimony could not be used against her, but she was not immune from prosecution based on other evidence. Yes, she understood that. They asked about the last time she spoke to her mother. November 2023. right around Charlie's conviction. And what had Donna wanted? She was hoping Wendy would be supportive of her brother. Supportive. In a murder trial, her brother stood accused of arranging the killing of her children's father. And her mother was hoping she would be supportive. What does support look like in a family like this? That question was never fully answered on that witness stand. Because Wendy Adelson is very good at answering exactly what was asked, and not one word beyond its edges. The defense asked whether Donna was a good mother. Wendy said yes. They asked whether Donna ever suggested, in writing or in person, that Dan deserved to be harmed. Wendy said no. The daughter of the woman convicted of murder, saying her mother never once suggested Dan Markel deserved to be hurt. Perhaps she never did say it in those words. Perhaps the instruction was given in silences, in implications, in the things a family who has been together for decades does not need to put into language. On September 4th, 2025, a jury in Tallahassee found Donna Adelson guilty on all counts. First-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, solicitation of murder. On October 13th, 2025, she was sentenced to life in prison. 5 people are now behind bars for the murder of Dan Markel. Luis Rivera, Sigfrido Garcia, Catherine Magbanua, Charlie Adelson, and now Donna Adelson. And Wendy Adelson remains free. State Attorney Jack Campbell said after the verdict his office would make decisions in the coming weeks. Legal analyst Joe Bodiford was direct. The question everyone is asking is whether Wendy will be the 6th person charged. He noted the challenges, the immunity attached to her testimony, the standard of proof required, and the 5 convictions already standing. We may not have all the evidence on Wendy, he said. She's officially named in court documents as an unindicted co-conspirator, not a witness, not a bystander, a co-conspirator who has not yet been charged. And she herself, when asked whether she thought she would ever face charges, said 4 words still being analyzed. The state isn't going to decide to arrest me. Was that a prediction? Confidence? Knowledge? Only she knows. Here is what we know with certainty. Dan Markel was 41 years old when he was killed. A beloved teacher, a devoted father, a man who fought through every legal channel to remain in his children's lives. He is gone. The 2 boys he fought so hard to stay near grew up in South Florida. Their last names are now Adelson. His parents, Phil and Ruth Markel, spent years fighting for the right to see their grandchildren. Their advocacy contributed to the passage of the Markel Act in Florida, legislation expanding grandparents' visitation rights. His name lives on in law. And Wendy Adelson? She left FSU's law faculty in 2015. She moved to Miami. She built a life in exactly the city she always wanted to be in. Her children are with her. Her brother is serving life. Her mother is serving life. And she maintains, as she has from the very first hours of this investigation, that she had nothing to do with what happened to Dan Markel. Maybe that is the truth. She has never been convicted, never been charged. In the eyes of the law, Wendy Adelson is an innocent person. The legal system operates on evidence and proof, not on feelings, not on implications, not on a mother's text about years of protection. But this case has never been able to stay inside the boundaries of what can be proven, because the human elements keep pulling it back into the territory of perception, of instinct, of the thing you feel when you watch someone describe the murder of their children's father and never once appear to lose control. We come back to this clip one final time, because now, after everything you have heard, watch it again. Watch how she talks about her brother, the man serving life in prison, the man prosecutors say arranged her ex-husband's death for her benefit, the man whose conviction prompted their mother to text that he had protected Wendy for years. Watch her face when she talks about him now.
I absolutely had a close relationship with my brother.
And how soon after the murder did your lawyer advise you not to talk to your family about it?
In 2016.
Okay, so what about the 2 years in between? Did you talk to him about it then?
I mean, I talked to him about the fact that a murder occurred, but I guess I don't understand the question.
But you never talked to him about the suspicions you raised in the law enforcement interview that your brother might have done it?
No, I did not.
You suspected your brother could have been a part of this, right?
I suspected lots of people could have been a part of it.
But he was one of the people, right?
While I was talking with law enforcement for 6 hours, terrified out of my mind, I offered them every possible idea I could come up with.
Right. And one of the possible ideas was that your brother could have murdered your child's father.
I didn't really believe that was possible.
Was part of the plot for you to be able to have plausible deniability about this?
Absolutely not.
Is it better for both you and your brother if you don't know the details of this?
I don't even understand the question that you're asking me.
When did you first become aware that you might be a suspect in this case?
I mean, as the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought, oh my God, maybe if I hadn't divorced him, he would still be alive. Maybe this is my fault because I complained to the wrong person. Maybe Danny gave a student a bad grade and they came after him. I just was trying to think of who possibly could have wanted to hurt him.
But you didn't say any of that before. I mean, the first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25, not 5 hours into it. You say Charlie might have done it, right?
Can I see, please?
You may. This is going to be tab 1, page 25.
What I say here is that he would never do it. Right under the highlighted part, I say no, he would never.
Need a copy?
Page 25, line 5 through 15. I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie, the one I'm really close to. He makes a lot of jokes in that taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay or fix it, or whether I should get a new one. And it was always his joke that, he knew that Danny always treated me badly. And it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV. So instead I got you this TV. And you do say you don't think he would do it, but can we agree you brought up his name on page 25 of the interview?
I did.
When asked, would you ever ask someone to do something like this? You say not in a million years. When asked, okay, do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you? You say no. And when Isom starts to ask you what good does it serve, you say, I mean my brother, the one, his name is Charlie. Isn't that how it went?
This is the transcript, but I think there's also inaccuracies in the transcription.
Oh boy. All right. Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired him, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid him.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want him held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I said.
Different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further question.
The woman on that screen carries an entire story inside her. What that story truly contains, only she knows. Here is the question this case will never let you stop asking. It is not comfortable. It has no clean answer, but it sits at the very heart of everything. If a person knows that someone they love is planning something terrible, and they do not stop it, what does that make them? Not legally, not necessarily morally, but what about the weight of it? What about the knowing? What about the silence? This is not a question aimed at Wendy Adelson specifically. It is a question about human beings, about families, about how far loyalty stretches before it becomes something darker. Dan Markel died on July 19th, 2014. 5 people are in prison. One person named by prosecutors as a co-conspirator has never been charged. And the question of what she knew, when she knew it, and what she chose to do with that knowledge is still open. In America, you are innocent until proven guilty. That is not just a legal principle. It is a moral one. Wendy Adelson has not been proven guilty of anything, but this case is still developing. The state attorney has not closed the file. And somewhere in Florida, in the quiet after 5 verdicts and 5 life sentences, the question still echoes. Who else knew? This has been Dark Trail Files. If this story moved you, if it made you think, made you question what you understood about loyalty, family, and the truth, you are exactly the audience this channel was built for. Subscribe to Dark Trail Files right now. Ring that notification bell. Because when the next development breaks in the Dan Markel case, when the question of a 6th charge is finally answered, you will want to be here. The Dark Trail never runs cold. We just have to keep following it. This is Dark Trail Files. Stay curious, stay sharp, and never stop asking the questions that do not have easy answers.